Well, I guess that's one way to start the show.
I guess.
Welcome to the Mayor Joe Taylor Show. Jeff Underwood, Jerry White, Mayor Joe Taylor. What's up, guys?
Anytime you get to hang out with the greatest mayor, the greatest city, in the greatest state in this country, it's a good day.
I can't agree with you more.
How could you not? Spell hippopotamus.
Go for it.
Good grief. I just came from that. The county spelling bee's going on at Westbrook, and I think I was there for about 12 words. I knew that I could spell one of them, and it was gyroplane.
Okay.
And I thought, well, you know,
Hey.
it was the first word I heard. And I thought, man, I'm about to kill this. I'll wear this out. And boy, it went downhill from there. When it got to ostracize and receipts, which I was close on receipts. In my mind, when they spelled it, I was doing I before E, except after C, except when you say neighboring way.
Yeah.
And I got them wrong.
Spell fracassia.
Right.
I'm telling you, those kids are so
Brilliant.
smart.
It's hilarious. My wife just texted. I texted her. I said, "How's your kid doing?" And then she goes, 5 left, still in it.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
good. Yeah.
Who's the representative for Ellie?
I don't know. I'll ask the name.
It's not Haley.
Well, she's in college, so
It wouldn't
Well,
matter.
you know,
she still wouldn't be in there.
The gun's kind of loaded down there because you got Phoenix Ramsey, who is
Yes.
she's 4 for the last 5. She's 5 for 5 in math. I mean, that little girl is so smart. She's a young lady now, but she's so smart. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so,
You know, it came up last night. Jerry wasn't really going to brag on her like he needed to, and I ended up, you know, just saying what was obvious, and that is that, you know, intelligence skips a generation. So it's okay for him to talk about how smart she is.
yeah, I would.
He doesn't have. We don't expect him to be.
Oh.
Why would we do that?
Speaking of manes, his hair last night looked pretty good.
Oh, he's got it. Now that's all natural.
You know, he's like, that's juices and berries. And
Juices and berries.
So he was sitting back in that chair.
Yeah.
He owned the joint, right?
Yeah, well.
He leans back now.
Yeah, he was leaning
Him and Clark
over,
Hopper.
and he was showing Prince. I gotta, you know, I'm gonna tell you, he's always probably breaking somebody's email.
Yeah, he's steady.
Wow,
hacking
that's a
into
fact. That's a fact. I'll tell LS, don't you bring that computer from work up in here, because I know Jerry Rams put some spyware
He
on it.
will.
Right, that
But
thing's got all
let me say this: it's not often I get to say this. It's the first time since I've known you, Mr. Mayor. There was a little bit of being uncomfortable during the meeting last
It's
night.
snafu, yeah. Well, this is the thing. We had so many things on that agenda. It was the longest agenda we've had probably since I've been mayor. And a couple of them, you really have to get them right so that they're official.
Sure.
And of course, you know, I've got Beth Lee on you know, on my right hand side, and that's not going to get past her. And then I've got Prince proofreading everything that I do, and so yeah, I had a little snafu. I mean, we corrected it, pulled it back around. You know, it always kills me that people think that embarrasses me that I would make a mistake, and I don't give a rip as long as we get it right. You know?
Bethany said, "I got you."
Yeah, she said, and that's what she said. She said, she actually said that.
I heard her. No,
She
I
said,
heard.
I've got you.
I got you, man.
And she just straightens it back out, slides me a little cheat sheet over there. And,
Great.
you know, a lot of people ask me, you know, when I'm doing the meeting, you know, am I reading that? Well, I read what we're doing. And then all the rules of order, I'm doing that just because I've run a lot of meetings in my life. And
Sure.
I was a parliamentarian at one time. So I understand that part. But the part that Beth is literally feeding me information during that time, and I go over the agenda, we go over it together 2 or 3 times. There's still places that you can make a mistake, and we don't allow for those mistakes to
Sure.
continue on. I would rather anyone there correct me, and you know that doesn't bother me at all. I think it would bother me if you didn't do that and let me continue to go. You know, I'd rather you not remove the fact that I am an idiot. You know, just let me be an idiot and tell me I'm one.
Well,
I'm okay with
at least you got people like that. What Jerry does is he sees me going down the wrong path and lets me go.
And he kind of follows at a distance.
Yes.
You know, because he wants to see the aftermath.
He does. He wants
That's right.
he wants to see train wreck and chaos, and then he wants to step on and go, that's not right.
That's right.
I just want to see how far you're going to take it.
Yeah, let's see where this can go.
Because halfway through, he figured out he was wrong.
Yeah.
He ain't giving it up.
No,
Well,
I'm going to keep on pressing
The
hard.
best thing about last night was that Jameson wasn't there. He had training, thank goodness, because he would have. And his is so subtle, but it's really vulgar. because he'll just lean forward and look at me like I am an idiot and look down on me, and I'm like, man, go
That's
away.
cold blooded. JB Langford is the kid still in it from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, good for him. I don't know him, but I probably couldn't even spell his name.
You got a name like JB.
You gotta be.
You gotta be smart.
You gotta be something.
Like the lady that's that's doing the spelling bee. That's like the one that does the talking and gives the words. Man, she threw an admonishment on those people moving around in those bleachers.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking
I just
about.
stepped in the door and I was like, man, she's about to get on to me. She got on them so hard she forgot about me.
Good.
And so I was able to sneak back out the door, She was getting them, man. She was letting them have it.
Couple good things from the council that came up last night. I thought, first of all, you and Alan Cosby going to be in a movie, the third movie of Twins.
I think so.
And he's
That's
obviously going to be
hilarious.
Danny DeVito.
Sure.
No question.
That's
Sure.
the thing is Alan, I've got him by probably 75, 80 pounds. I'm getting closer to him now. I have lost a little weight.
Good. Looking all
He
good.
does look good. Got his new fitted coat on, looking good.
That ain't from the Rack of Martins.
No, it ain't.
Mm-mm.
Take lessons.
Mm-mm.
You know who
No,
you
I
are.
see it's to the point now where Rachel's having to chip in and start buying some of my clothes because I did it long enough for her. It's time for her to help me out. But no, me and Alan, we get along really well. He comes to some of our council meetings. It's always good to know that you've got other elected officials
Sure.
in there. Scarlett Farley came last night, and she's system wide just such a hard worker for the system, and I enjoy being around Scarlett. We spent 5 nights at the county tournament sitting side by side, and she's just a lot of fun to talk to. She's a great person to know.
The fact that you guys were able to add 2 more school resource officers and the 2 that you chose, or
that's right.
Talk about those 2 for a second.
Well, Camp and I got together right after he came in as the chief. He was putting together what he calls a focus unit, and I was saying, before you do that, I want 2 SROs in our schools. And it was because we had that situation where one of our police officers was working for a private company over in Gadsden at Waller Park, and they had that situation where they had to shoot and kill that guy because he was trying to harm the kids. And I knew then, because of the fact that it was 2 officers that were engaging with that guy, that's how you keep your kids safe. Is to create for the lack of a better term, and people don't like it that I say it this way, but to create a fire team like you would have in the military, so that there's one guy overwatching for the other. And that was my intent. I went to Dr. Cosby and actually went to Ms. Martinez at the time was at John Jones, and went over to see Allison Lee. Both of those great principals. Ms. Martinez is now at Ura Brown. But I told them, and went to see the Rachel at Westbrook to tell them, guys, what we would like to do is put another SRO in your school and allow these guys to be able to work together. And last night we completed that, so we'll have 2 SROs at Westbrook, 2 SROs at Rainbow Middle, and 2 at John Jones, and then we also have a SRO that will be assigned to the Challenger Learning Center.
That's awesome.
During that time, those kids are just as vulnerable. Students are vulnerable, and I don't like the fact that that's the way the world turns, but I can't ignore the fact that it does. And so we were able to go in with Etowah County Schools and also with Westbrook and fund those positions. The 2 people that we got last night, we got a guy just a few weeks ago, and it's Ryan Condy. And Ryan Condy was a retired Attala police officer and just a wonderful guy, and saw him this morning at Westbrook. And those kids absolutely love that guy.
Yeah.
But they have Condy and Prater, just a perfect pair over there of guys that are just keeping our kids safe. And then last night we were able to bring Amber Brown. Amber was a former lieutenant or captain at Gadsden, and she had come home to raise kids, and now her kids are getting on up, and she decided that she would take our part-time SRO job, and so she's going to be going to John Jones, to Rainbow Middle School, and she'll be down there working as an SRO. Let's see, the other SROs. We also brought Blake Habian. I'm sorry, and
It's a great
Amber
hire.
will be going to John Jones. Blake's going to Rainbow Middle School, and that's a great hire.
Yeah,
I mean,
home
just
run.
the opportunity to have someone that's not only community driven and oriented. He coaches kids. He coaches in that middle school environment. So, it's just another chance for us to put together a
Heck
really
yeah.
really solid core group of SROs. And I think I guess it's arguable, but I don't think you could argue much. Uh, this plan of doubling up on SROs in these schools, these guys are looking out after about 800 people
Hmm.
that are concentrated in this one, what's seen as a target area
Sure.
for idiots. Um, it puts them in a position where they're absolutely a target.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted to eliminate the value of that target.
And you
I
guys are,
think we do.
and they're there just as much for the teachers and
That's right.
everyone else than it is
Absolutely.
the
And I think it keeps the teachers being teachers. One of
right.
the things that kind of came up after Columbine and these other school shootings was, let's start arming our teachers. They're not armed people. That's not their job. They shouldn't be put in a position where they're trying to defend their students when they're there to protect them, but they're there to educate them.
Right.
Hmm.
It's up to us, and I hate it that it's our duty now and that of the school systems, but it's up to us to do right by these kids and put them in a place where they can go and learn without fear.
I agree. Absolutely. We won't talk about the people's names, but matter of fact, I talked to Marco Bryant twice yesterday.
I'm sorry.
I know. I knew you would feel for me. You had an incident just a few days ago where there was a attempted murder and then a suicide. And we say our kids, one of our young men walked in and saw it when the guy decided to do what he was going to do. And your police and medical response was out of this world. People are talking about that and kind of the perimeter they set and all those things. Talk about how important. I mean, because that's an apartment complex, densely populated with a lot of people.
Well, I think that's one of those things where people will say, what's going on? Well, I can tell you what's going on live.
Yeah.
We could begin to have knee-jerk reactions to people that make critical mistakes in their lives, and there's no doubt that if you start looking at those kind of things, that has to do with a lack of mental awareness, whether that's mental illness or not. And we could talk about that as well, but our side of that is to be, if we have a duty to respond, that response has to be timely. Our people do that. They do it very, very well, and I'm glad to hear. It's always good to hear that we're doing something well. We always hear what we're doing wrong.
Sure.
But in our police and fire response, we say it so much it almost has no meaning. But this is the safest city in the state of Alabama. We can't stop people from being bad actors, but we can prevent them from having very far of a reach. And I think that's what happens in these cases. The other thing is the ability for our fire department to act alongside those police officers and do it in a safe manner. You're talking about firemen that are not armed, that go into an area, and the only hope they have for being safe is our own police department. And so they get a chance to go into these environments knowing that they're safe because we have a extremely well trained police department. And then the lady that survived that situation, her survival was contingent on quick response and great EMS care from our fire department. And our firefighters are unbelievable. We're almost 100%. We're about 89% EMT paramedics, which, we have some of our paramedics that are critical care, some of them are tactically trained, and all of those things, when you bring that to bear on a bad medical situation, normally brings about the absolute best outcome. Pre-hospital care is so critical and important now over any other time previous to COVID, because of the fact that there's there's that wall time. There's the overrun of our hospitals. We need more hospitals. We need more emergency rooms. We need those hospitals in rural areas, which are quite honestly what's loading up our city hospitals.
Right.
So it's just a situation that I believe that has to be dealt with at a federal and state level, and I hope they get about doing it. But I can't brag enough on how our police and fire chief have not only trained their people, because again, we brag about the two things that we know are the monikers of our departments, one being the safest city and state of Alabama, the other being the most well-trained, individually certified fire department in the state of Alabama. That's a lot to say from a city our size, but that takes intent. You know, our council government and the people that work with me and approve the ideas that me and those chiefs put together, you know, they're supporting us. They're supporting us first with their name, and being able to put their character integrity on the line to believe that we're going to do the right thing for the people that we serve. But the other part of this is that they are literally, you know, engrossed in this. You know, we've got two police officers, you know, in Clark and in Jameson, that these are guys that have been through training their whole lives, and they know the places where there are gaps in service. And when we have a chance to fill in that gap in service, which one being that doubling up of SROs, they're all on. I mean, they're with us the whole way, and that's just hard to beat, and it's hard to find anywhere else.
One of the things that really popped off on social media after that event, kind of with it, but really not, is just, when's Rainbow City getting a hospital? I'm sure you saw that. It was everywhere.
I did, and I think it's fair. I think it's a fair ask. You know, we this community, you know, we have two city hospitals, Riverview and Gadsden Regional, and they do their thing. You know, if you start looking at, you know, people will say, well, we're a small landmass county. That's true, but we're also a highly population concentrated county as well. You know, per square mile, we have as many people as I think every county except 3. So if you look at those things in concentration, you know, there's a need right now. We know that. I mean, we're obviously seeing some movement towards that in the fact that we have Birmingham Heart Clinic here. We have doctors that come into Rainbow City weekly to do their work out of the hospitals in Birmingham. It's time. I mean, it's time for for one of these hospital systems to find a way to come into our city and do something that's going to be freestanding and give us some hospital beds.
But I think
we're lacking hospital beds, and we're lacking, care in certain areas.
But I think it's very important that people understand that the city of Rainbow City is not in the business of building hospitals.
No, we're not. But, you know, I tell people all the time, there were 2 meetings that I took in the first few days of being the mayor. One was with Don Killingsworth over at JSU to ask for a 4-year presence of Jacksonville State University in our city. We have that now at the Challenger, the JSU STEAM Institute, which is the Challenger Learning Center. And then the second meeting was with UAB. And myself and I carried Jeff Prince, and I didn't know each other from Adam's House Cat. And I said, Jeff, we need to go to UAB. What are we going to do there? I said, we're going to ask for a hospital. And he was, I think he thought I was crazy, but we went down and we ended up eating some barbecue afterwards, and made a day of it. But we had a chance to go in and actually present to the people at UAB, what our needs were. And look, this area has vast needs when it comes to healthcare. You'll hear healthcare people say that we've got it covered, but obviously we don't have it covered. When Birmingham Heart Clinic decided to come to Rainbow City because they have so many patients here in Delaware County, St. Clair, Cherokee, and Calhoun. And so they're and Blunt, and they're bombarding us. That hospital unit or pre-hospital unit in Birmingham Heart Clinic is finding out every day just how many patients that they know who they are. They're just finding out that these people want to be closer, and then they're getting that additional follow-on business just because they know that what facility you're going to transfer and test or have surgery in. That matters.
Yep, it certainly does.
A lot of people saying hello.
You see with Andrew Ford, he just said, looking to build a new corporate plant for next year, Mayor, I need to talk to you soon.
Come talk to me. We've got some property right now in our little commerce and industrial park. It's got to come pretty quick, Andrew, because it's we're sold off a piece of property last night to Kim Kidd Properties. That's the Willow Tree folks, and Kim's got some plans already in our building of increasing her network of business, and we have SMD Metals, we have GFI. Good grief, we've got Redfield Auction that we're working on their plan right now. We should have their property to them. So I'm just saying, come on, Andrew. We need to do it now because we're running out of space, which is a wonderful problem to have.
Great problem.
Very good problem to have.
Talk about that real quick. Talk about how in the last, really the last 4 years, you've seen people corporations running to try to get out here to Rainbow City.
We have.
Why is that? And just go from there.
I think it's several things on several fronts. One is there's an exodus of some of the regressive cities, so the cities that are not doing as well as others. I think some of it no doubt has to do with safety and security. We're seeing ourselves really begin to take on a lot of financial institutions, whether in the case of wealth management or in the case of banks and credit unions. So we know that they tend to clamor towards very safe areas. In the sense of manufacturing, I'm not real sure that people understood that we were in the manufacturing world. And so we had to kind of go out there and go to the expos and go to the places where these people are looking for a home and begin to kind of sell our wares. We do that with Jeff Boyd and Lisa Young. Both of those guys work in the sense of economic development. And I'll be honest with you, it's been very fruitful for me to go out. I kind of understand business way more than I understand government, but it's been a very fruitful exercise for me. Duncan, just for example, I went to the EDAA, the Economic Development Association of Alabama, and when I got there, I was having breakfast and there was just this lady, young girl, sitting at the table with me, and and she said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Rainbow City," and she said, "Well, I didn't know they had elected officials here." And you have to kind of play it down because developers don't want to talk to elected officials right out of the gate. And I said, "Well, maybe I'm a little different, but." And so she says, I represent about 5 major major names, and she wouldn't tell me who they were. And she said, "We looked at Rainbow City and looked at a piece of property, and the property wasn't what we wanted. We found one, and it's not for sale." And I said, "Well, what was it?" She pulls it up on GIS, and I said, "That piece of property is for sale." And we walked out into the hall, sat down on a bench. I called the owner of that property. He made an agreement with them to sell that property, and that's how we got done.
Wow.
All because of breakfast is how I took it away from you.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. And that's how you do economic development. You have to do it by networking with people and being you've got to be an elected official that actually knows what's going on in your city, what piece of property is for sale. And if those things aren't predetermined and pre-identified, you're just a politician.
Yeah.
You just become a salesman, and what I would rather do is be a deal closer than I have to be a salesman.
Mm-hmm.
And we're closing a lot of deals. I think Heather Hill does our revenue department, and Gala Perry does our licensure. And I think from 24 to 25, we increased 700 business licenses in Rainbow City. That is an incredible number. Now, yeah, we know that a lot of those are service organizations that are coming from other cities, but a lot of those service organizations now are deciding this is where we want to be, and they're rooting themselves. Their business development is coming into Rainbow City so that they can then work out of here straight to the interstate to go north towards Huntsville, interstate to go south towards Birmingham, to be able to be in the center and the outside edge of the Atlanta sprawl. We're perfectly positioned, and I think that again goes back to understanding what your city has to offer. You know, there are things we can't do. We're not going to give you the fine dining. You know, we're not going to give you tablecloth dining here, but that's coming.
Mm.
And so when I hear people say, "Why are we getting another coffee?" And that was one of the things that was on Facebook this week was, "Why are we getting another coffee shop?"
Scooting
I
around.
can tell you why, because they can make money.
Yeah, people
I mean,
buy
for
it.
us to believe that somewhere in the universe there's a formula, and I don't understand it for QSR, quick service restaurants and coffee shops. They don't go and build a $1.5 million complex
Mhm.
to lose money. And I really want people out there to hear
Yeah.
that, because when you say we don't need another one, well, no, you don't need another one. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life, but I can tell you we need scooters.
Yeah.
And I can tell you we need another couple of different things, and those things are coming. And you know, and your ability to get to fine dining actually comes through QSR food,
What?
because you've got to first solve the problem for the majority.
Yeah.
And the majority of people drink coffee.
Sure.
The majority of the people eat cheap food. And we know that to be the truth. Once we solve that little mystery for everybody and we get everybody accommodated, fine dining comes right after that. And that's just the national model of how a city grows. And so that's what we're prepared for.
I didn't know I needed something that's coming. I did not know I needed a drive-through taco joint.
Man.
Everybody needs that.
But I'm very excited that it's coming. Right?
Absolutely.
And they were working on the sign yesterday. Cilantro.
Cilantros, that's right.
I'm excited about
And
that.
you know, that's a local homegrown group. You know, that's some folks that are just been here in Rainbow City and Southside for forever. You know, for a long, long time, and you know, and kind of going from, you know, they know the restaurant business. They also in the service business. You know, provide services in other ways, and this is just a perfect fit, and that is a great location for that.
Now if you just throw some outdoor putt-putt back in the day.
Yeah, that's old school.
That's old school right
Yeah,
there.
it is. That goes way back. Woolco.
Hey, it's a good question here. How are we standing with the? I think they meant to say how is it coming with the auto auction?
Spoke with them yesterday. As a matter of fact, my fire chief and I met yesterday afternoon, and we were doing a little bit of work that, you know, this is the thing about, like, when you start doing big developments like that, they do take time.
Sure.
You know, we tend to be the fastest portion of that now. Used to be that government was the slow portion. It was the leg that just really wouldn't work. We limped around. But now that we do things very, very well in Rainbow City. But as far as the auction, you know, we transferred that property quite a while back. They began to work on their financing, and then right now they're in some, you know, you have to do environmental studies, and it's all about doing the appropriate things and doing those in order, and all of that's in order. So we see that beginning to come out of the ground, you know, in this quarter.
Mm-hmm. Heck yeah.
So it's moving right along. The same thing goes with S&D Metals. You know, we were able to finalize their tax package and abatement package yesterday. Didn't give up. You know, we don't sell our soul in Rainbow City to bring a business in, because quite honestly, we don't have to. We're not trying to overcome the fact that our city has a high crime rate, or that we were at one time known as and I'm not here to hurt feelings. I don't really care if I do, and if I do, you're just being sensitive. But we're no longer, you know, we've never been known as a union town. Those things are things you have to overcome when you're trying to bring economic development from the outside. It's just the truth, and that's from a 25-year union firefighter.
Somebody was saying on social, and where we get a lot of our information from, or BS information a lot of times. They said Rainbow City doesn't have any entertainment. And I wanted to put on there, well, cities, municipalities are not in the entertainment business.
Correct.
So talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's a setup. And I actually kind of like it, you know, because you're right, Jeff. I mean, you know, we're not in the business to entertain you and your children.
Right.
Now we do things, and we do big events. We do
Yes.
some very, very good things, and then we offer the one thing that everybody seems to say, well, that's not entertainment, and it's sports. It's recreation for our children. It's bike pathways, walking pathways. Had somebody last night on Facebook that was talking about the lit uh,
Mhm.
walking track that we just put in. It was $1.6 million free walking track where we went after the money to get $1.6 million in here and put a lighted pathway in out close to our middle school. And, again, it's safe. It's an opportunity this was a lady out walking, and she knows she's in good shape. Everything's good. She's got great parking, great opportunity to exercise. Those are the things that we can do. I can't put on a party every week. That's not my job. My job's not to create a fun city. My job is to create a safe city that can do business and provide jobs and do the things that I can't always be looking to snatch your entertainment dollar.
Right.
I would rather know that you're doing well, in your occupation, in your profession, and provide you really good infrastructure. If you come into Rainbow City and you're driving on a bad road, you've got a problem. But if you come into Rainbow City and I don't have a jazz band on every corner, I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to bring some beads to throw at you, but I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now that was a setup. That's what
It
that
was a
was.
Sorry about that.
Tried to open it up. You just didn't walk in it.
So this would be a great segment here if we can talk about. There is a glaring need of something Rainbow City needs, and it's not Milo's. That's where that's my heart.
That's your heart.
That's
Yeah,
my
sure,
heart.
that's your heart.
But it'd be great to have a sporting goods store here with some golf simulators.
Hey,
I agree, and I'll just tell you that we are prime for that. And I've spoken to several different opportunities that we would have in that direction. But the one thing that we've got now that's almost unstoppable is our recreation department. Philip Hollingsworth has had vision. He's actually been a really good executor of a plan that he and I put together in the first few weeks that was backed up by our comprehensive plan that is absolutely supported by our council. And we now have it's arguably the best recreation system in this region, and I'm going to tell you why before somebody says, well, it's not more fields than them, it's not more this, not more that. This is what we did. We have decentralized recreation.
Yeah.
In other words, our recreation's not in one spot. We didn't go and clamor and press everything into the same, meatloaf. That's not what we did. We fragmented our city and put it in close proximity to each other, so that you can literally walk from almost every one of our recreation areas or ride a bike to the other. And we've created that connectivity with trails and pedestrian walk paths. But what we have is we have baseball and some soccer at Vivian, and then we've got some softball and baseball at the old rec, and then we'll have our huge recreation center that'll open up soon. And then we have our soccer complex that's a little more remote, and then we have football and soccer and track in another area. All of those areas have adequate parking. Everybody wants to say, well, if we could just centralize our recreation, that's fine. But you better put in enough parking spots, and so in our case, we want to make sure that first off, when you get there, you're accommodated. If not, you'll just turn around and leave.
Sure.
And so I think it's just a little bit, maybe we just have a different idea of what recreation should be and what entertainment should be for families and kids. But I believe we're doing it right.
Well, I mean, it's not sustainable. If you're a city of entertainment, it's not what sustains a city.
No, it's not.
It, but
if you just look at what the economic impact is of a festival, yes, you can say that festival brings in $150,000. Our drone show creates over $150,000 worth of increase because people will buy gas and they'll stop and have a meal and they'll buy some snacks on their way out and fill their cooler. All of those things do happen, and that's real. That's reality.
Sure.
But the way you make money is and bring it back in, because every dollar that comes into our city is returned in services.
That's right.
Now, I'm not saying that our services are above, head and shoulders in entertainment above anyone else, but they are premier services. We do roadside pickup of debris and trash.
Mm-hmm.
We have an absolute stellar water utility. And then, and our water quality is unlike anything else in this area.
Mm.
You can drink your water out of your tap in Rainbow City.
Yeah.
Careful anywhere else, but in Rainbow City, you can do that. And, I think those are the services and the infrastructure that we're supposed to put together as a government agency. And then all of the rest of it just kind of becomes gravy on the biscuit. I think we found the secret sauce.
God, I love biscuits and gravy.
I
Had them forever.
Man. Viva Coffee.
Stop it.
They got biscuit gravy?
Best biscuits and gravy anywhere.
Well, you're making, you are claiming right here live on Kapow that Viva Coffee has the best biscuits and gravy.
15 to 11, yeah. And I'm saying that.
It's a ballsy statement.
I may have to check that out.
So, hey, your boy Cody Laster's watching for a few minutes. He's at class. He said I had to jump out, and he sent me a picture of the teacher. He said, I thought Jeff Underwood's teaching the class today.
Dude looked like me. I mean,
He did.
for a moment when Jerry showed me,
he's at the Aldott class.
I went, wait, I'm here.
Yeah, he looked like it.
And even that, like Cody, is known to be the guy that's kind of the social media guy for our street department. Cody Lassiter is way more than just a jokester and all that. He is him and Brent Elrod. Brent's the department head and Cody's the assistant superintendent down there. Those two guys are running our street department like a machine.
Mm-hmm.
And they do incredible work down there together. And with the guys that they have, and they're taking on some new guys now.
How many applications?
Good grief, 42.
Oh my gosh.
For 2 positions.
Wow.
For 2 positions. And luckily we've had luckily for people that are applying, we have another position that opened up from another retiree. And so now there's 3. That's not great odds for 42 applicants, but we know that they'll start the interview process and they'll pick the right person. It's just that this city is growing. We've got some opportunity coming soon at our rec center for some lifeguards and some part-time people and all of those things. Are that's just those signs of growth, and it's the signature of this city that we're going to do things and do it very, very well. And allowed to do that, everybody thinks that I'm just a guy that's just out there running the show, and there's no doubt that I don't mind doing my job, but I can't do my job if I don't have a cohesive council.
That's right.
We're watching that happen right now in Livingston.
Yeah,
Livingston.
He brought it up.
Tarrant, and I'll call them by name because I think they need to act right.
That was trash. Livingston.
We're watching a resurgence of a wonderful council and mayor position situation down in Springville now. They are getting it back the way it's supposed to be, and I tip my hat to them. A lady right now that's running for county commission in St. Clair County, Ms. Hennings. She's a council member in Springville, and they set out to make sure that they reset their council to do the people's work and not to be about egos and those kind of things. And I tip my hat to them.
Talk about entertainment and government. Livingston's got it.
Boy, it's something
That's
else.
entertainment right there.
That brother walked in and said, "Meeting adjourned," and walked out.
Well, and it's funny because you could go back and watch these YouTube feeds about councils, and you find out that there's the mayor that'll filibuster and just bloviate all of his information and get upset. I don't get upset when everybody believes that there's no doubt that Rainbow City's council, we intentionally show a unified front. I think we have to do that to be able to build confidence in our citizenry. But there are times when they're not ready. They're not ready for that next thing, or they want more information. And Jeff Prince, I consider him one of my best friends in the world. But Jeff will ask the question. He'll say, are we ready for this? Do we know what we're doing here? Or is this a part of that original plan? Does this go back to our comprehensive plan? Those are the questions, and all the rest of them do it as well. But Jeff just tends to do it a little bit more than others. But I appreciate that because it gives me an opportunity to set his mind at ease. But it also lets me know that he's engaged in what we're doing. He's not just saying yes. My council is kind of known for being a yes council. That's only commentary on the fact that they are reading and staying up. They're fed and communicated with enough information to be able to make good, sound decisions. And I'm bringing them great work product. And I will brag on myself in that and my staff because that's kind of who does it with me. I'm bringing them a great product for them to say yes to. If I bring something that's supposed to, and we've seen it lately in some of the local politics around here where council members are going, whoa, wait a minute now. I don't have enough information here. And that's a fair statement to say. I just rather them not have to say it out in public.
Right.
I would rather them, and this is going to go to the standard thing of, well, we want transparency. I don't need to see my parents fight.
That's right.
I don't need to see my kids knock in a knockdown drag out. Go in your room, slap each other around, work this out, and come back out and tell me that you're a better person. And I think that's what we want to present is just better government.
Please, at some point, throw your gavel at Randy Weiss.
Oh, that would be great.
Just.
I've thought about sliding it down there. But the table's curved, and I'm afraid I'm going to miss my mark and hit Jerry Ramsey in the mullet.
That could be even better.
I don't want to do that.
That would be way better.
It would be good.
Now that's good TV. That's entertainment.
I think
you want
so
entertainment?
Too. Well, when we first came into office 5.5 years ago, the big thing was, and it became a running commentary of when Jeff would say, "I'm just going to take a minute." Because everybody knew that Jeff can't speak for
Bless
his
heart.
He likes a good 5 to 40 minutes. But what we're finding out now is that Randy has become an orator, and he's even transferring, by Robert Rule of Order, he's yielding the rest of his time and all of the things, but
so moved.
It is a lot of fun. It's
Cody,
a lot
Cody said
of fun.
the gavel would get stuck in Jerry's hair.
It would. He hit himself in his head. Yeah, we had such a good time with when you were out. We've always missed you when you're not here,
Sure.
but you sent a good one up here, and the show went an hour 45 minutes.
Did.
That's all I'm saying, Jeff Prince.
Well, that's there's two things there. Number one is he talks slow. So
That is fair, and he processes.
Yeah, but I mean, and he will sit there and think it over now because he's looking at every angle that you're trying to put it on it. Because when I called him kind of last minute. I said, "Hey man, you going to the Powell show tomorrow?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "What are they going to ask me?" and that is the number one question when I tell somebody they're going on, because I called Cody and those guys and the Chiefs and of course Chief McKee immediately says, "What are they going to ask me? Is this a setup?"
You're moving up in the world. I just get a text message from Wes Allen.
Oh, Wes.
Now, Wes, that's a good guy right there, y'all. I'm telling you. As a matter of fact, Wes and I were texting either last night or this morning, and just about him asking about people in the area and that kind of thing. But Wes has found his strength right here in this area. And I hope so.
How's he doing on the campaign trail? He seems to be moving in a great direction.
He's doing really, really well. Yeah. Not long ago, the Alabama GOP guy, John, Wall.
John Wall. Yeah.
Came out, and said that he's going to run. I think that causes, everybody has to kind of, tighten up a little bit and maybe flinch a little bit. But I didn't see that out of Wes. I think he's running his race. He's running it his way. And he's been running for a while, and there's a lot to be said about the person that comes out early. When I ran for mayor, I came out early. Jeff Prince came out late. And so and he knew he had to make up time.
Right.
Jameson Jenkins, Jeff and Jameson, last
day,
hour of the last day,
yeah.
And and they immediately. I think they had to work harder than I did, which is great. That's a great commentary on them, is that they were willing to put the work in. But I guess maybe I was just by nature lazy, and I just wanted to kind of spread all that. The 100% that I'm going to give, I can't give 110. I don't have it. But the 100% that I'm going to give, I'd rather spread it out over time.
So what you're saying is I need to start running next year.
I
For
think
the
you have
net-
to. Yeah.
I need a run and go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's almost like getting somebody to push you on the, before you
Yeah.
pop the clutch.
That's right.
Let me
Yeah,
jump
and
in
then
on some of these comments real quick. Coach Short, what's up, buddy?
Well, Michael
He
Short.
says, sounds like your mayor is a great leader and organizer of people. That's a
fair statement.
statement, Coach. Brett Davis says, Jerry White looking sharp this morning.
Flattery would get you everywhere.
Then Brett says, also can't wait to vote for Jesse Battles.
Wow, he stuck that in there.
Sure did.
There you go.
You can always leave it to Brett Davis.
Yeah.
Well,
There's Brett.
let's just see if you're going to have the opportunity.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's out to be seen, and I don't, there's, I've been, I've had my hand slapped one time because I made a statement. Well, several. I mean, there at one time I couldn't feel the back of my hand, but and I think, to me, I think if you look, I take a holistic approach to everything. I don't hate you because I don't hate Jerry because he's got cool hair.
Right.
I'm glad to see
look at that flow, that mane.
yes, I'm finally glad to see that he's putting it out there because I always wondered. Y'all always wearing these caps,
Sure.
and I'm like, man, I'm in here without a cap. My head's shiny. Everybody gets a chance to make fun of mine, make fun of this.
You're not going. You just
to.
can't right
No.
now. His wife told him that he has to keep it long.
I like
She
it.
did.
I do too.
She did.
I like it.
I do too.
Now, if you throw a Jerry curl in the back of that thing,
Hey.
I mean a Jerry Ramsey curl, I'm not going to be okay then.
Follow the trip.
Don't be trying to be Jerry.
I'm gonna put the plastic on the seat when he comes in here.
Like your grandma's sofa.
He messed my couch up.
But I wish that we could get politics to stop being so
Political.
punitive and
Mhm.
personal, and the truth is, the definition of a politician was to be a leader, to be a what the coach said, it's to lead people and organize people and get people moving with momentum in the same direction. And if all you can do is try to look for what's wrong. I was a jump master in the Army, and and when we went to jump master school, which is the single best leadership school that you could ever go to, in my opinion, because what you're doing is you're convincing 65 people to jump out of an airplane. Which obviously doesn't sound like the best idea you can come up with. But, it takes a leader to get somebody to look out the door of an airplane going 220 knots and, 1,000 feet off the ground and say, hey, it's looking really good out here.
Perfect time to jump.
We want to leave this airplane and go out there. It's the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we decided to do when you go in and learn how to inspect a parachutist. The standing mantra of a jump master was look for what's right, and what's wrong will become glaringly apparent. The problem in politics is we look for what's wrong so that we can eliminate our competition.
Wow.
I don't agree with that. I don't think that that's the great idea. I don't think that people can. I am not who I was 10 years ago. I'm not who I was 25 years ago. And everybody in this room should be thankful.
Yeah,
for
praise
that.
God. Yeah, that's
and I think that if we would stop looking for what's wrong and look for what's right, we will find the people that's going to lead us forward.
Good morning, Ray.
And I think I have hope, in dealing. I get an opportunity to see a lot of young people, and I'm not the old fart that's going to say that our generation is not better than we were. I believe they are. I actually do. I think they're smarter than us. I think they're more savvy. I don't think they're socially where they would be if they were in our generation, because that's the only way we learned was to socialize. But I do believe they're a smarter generation. I'm watching that with this Challenger Learning Center. I told the story the other day to some people that were touring the Challenger. It's the only job I've ever lost. I was fired by a 5-year-old blonde-headed, blue-eyed little girl that just told me when we were doing, or fifth grade little girl, that we were doing this, and I was on the meteorological team. Proves how smart I am. And when she was doing her thing, and they were calculating and talking and communicating, doing all this thing with this little five fifth graders, and she turned around and just looked me in the eyes, just as pure as she could be, and said, "You're just not so good at this, are you?" And fired me. And and it kind of hurts me. It makes me want to cry.
Not the first time I've heard that.
No, but I can. But I can tell you, they proved to me that day that our kids are smart.
Sure.
And they're capable. And I believe that the same thing in politics. These people that are becoming candidates, let's look at their capability. Let's don't look at,
Right.
Yeah, I know we're going to look at affiliation. I know we're going to look at what somebody stands for and those kind of things. But we also have to look at what people have to do for the job.
Mm-hmm.
That's strong. Hit Brett Davis again.
He says, Mayor Joe, I'm so excited for scooters and cilantros. Between that and Wingstop, I'm going to have to make an extra trip to the gym. Just take an extra shot.
That's it. I'm just telling you. You get those tacos, Brett. I'm going to tell you, somebody's going to come in there after this cilantros opens, and I can't believe you don't already have one in the Wingstop deal. And then with scooters, somebody's going to get that tattoo. Somebody is going to get a cilantros tattoo. I feel it. And he should run a special. He should run a Wingstop, scooters, and cilantro special on tattoo.
You're talking about Brett.
This is Brett Davis.
This is Brett Davis.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about Brett Tyler Smith. I said Brett, so that's on me.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
on me.
Oh, you don't think he'll put, if you want it or not, he's going to give it to you.
But now I'll tell you that other one right there now, I believe he could probably he'd put them all in the gym.
Sure he would.
That dude
He's a
is
freak of
jacked,
nature.
man.
that dude is a dude.
That shirt tightens up and don't even mean to.
I mean,
That's why he couldn't be 6'5". Look at him.
No, if you're 6'5", man,
Oh,
he'd weigh 500 pounds.
gee. Hey, let's talk about the new Rainbow City High School.
Oh man,
Too soon?
no, it's not too soon.
Okay.
I think it's said over and over again. I actually made the statement the other night. I got to speak to the Neely Henry Lake Association. You
that's
think
cool.
that's going to be 7 or 8 people? No, that's going to be 100 people. And they're very engaged in their love of our water source here, and it's always a pleasure to be with them. Miss Faye at the community center always bakes a homemade pound cake, and it's
Hello.
the best pound cake in the world, the best. And
He's just out here dropping declarations today.
that's two.
Biscuits and gravy.
I'll
pound
tell
cake.
you when it's real.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, if I tell you a piece of food is great, go for that piece of food. But no, I got a chance to speak to Neely Henry Lake Association and go down and I kind of got through my little standard. This is where we are, almost the state of the city address, not formally, but I don't rent a venue. But what we did is we were able to sit there and talk and then have questions. And the questions that come out of that crowd are engaging and they're smart questions. And one of the things was, when would we be getting a high school? Well, I mean, we all know that, and I've said it over and over again, even on the show, NIL's coming. And when that happens, how many states now? 26, 28?
There's only 2 that do not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
In high school sports. Wow.
So that number
Really?
Yeah. And so
double.
some states they have a lot more guarded.
There's
what
some
you can
sort
do.
of it.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
but there's only 2.
But
Can you name the other?
Wow.
Alabama
and it's Mississippi.
Indiana.
Indiana.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Boy, you
Okay.
would think with that basketball up there, boy, they're trying to keep
Yeah.
those kids in
No,
the state.
Mississippi's all in.
Okay.
Yeah, they're trying to get ahead of us, just like the lottery. You want to speak to the lottery?
Yeah, I'll talk about it. It doesn't bother me at
What
all.
the-
I'm not down there. I don't have to argue about it. But no, I think that when you start looking at education, number one is I'll say it out loud. I don't want my own school system. I don't want to have to raise up a school system, go through the legalities of all that, because I actually think it bruises and hurts our children. I don't want to separate from Southside. I don't want that. But I do think that the better idea it would be to come into Rainbow City where we have the room and the available property in an education corridor area and build a mega high school with all of the facilities and everything in there. I think they ought to turf the urinal area. Everything about it needs to be premier and high level and give us the opportunity to draw and hold on to the kids that we have. People don't understand it. You'll have people that'll leave Publix and go to Walmart, and that's called, retail leakage. But we have the same thing with students. Our students are coming here. They're going to elementary school. They're moving into the middle school. Some of them are going to private school at that point, moving away, and then we're losing and leaking students into these other high schools. That should not be that way.
Right.
And if we had a facility that these kids knew they were, number one, going to be scholastically strong, number two, that they're going to be in sports at a level that they're going to be absolutely competitive, and then the third thing is to prepare them for life. I promise you, we already are more than half of our high school now. I don't think it would be wrong for us to ask the people in Southside to now come here, especially when they're going to get a new bridge, another subject. I don't think it's wrong to ask them to come here for us to put together an absolute
A combined high
mega,
school, Southside
yes,
and Rainbow City.
Southside and Rainbow City.
How much of the budget for Etowah County school system comes from Rainbow City?
It's a lot. It's over half of it. And that's just because, if you look at the other areas, if you look at, by size, and it's size and how much sales tax they can collect, because that's a big portion.
And we're not throwing shade at these other cities.
Not at all. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
Hoax Bluff's going to be Hoax Bluff.
Sure.
They get to do their thing.
Glencoe's going to give you a speeding ticket.
Same at Glencoe. Well led. Atala's well led by their mayor and their council, and their school system is great. I think that what we have in Etowah County is something really, really special, and that's I think 21-22 school system. But there's some pockets that need more attention, and it's because we carry the highest portion of census of students. If you take any group of those and put them together, we're still bigger. And I'm not talking about just Rainbow City. I'm talking about Rainbow City and Southside. We because we do share schools, our combination of student census is an incredible number.
Sure.
When we have 800 in our middle school, 7 something in our elementary, and go over there and they got 5 something in their elementary, and and then we combine all that and put it together at Southside. When they put that student body in Southside, we find where we've lost students.
That's right.
And we're finding it in that middle school time. And Allison Lee at our middle school, there is not a better administrator in the state of Alabama. She loves those kids. You go down there, she knows them by name. I still haven't figured that one out. She's backed up with Ray Cargill. You move across the street, you got Ms. Riles and Mr. Sewell. I'm telling you, y'all, we've got so much opportunity here to put together what would be a juggernaut scholastically and when it comes to sports.
I don't think Southside would give up a high school. I just don't.
I think the
it's just this Jerry White's opinion. It means nothing.
Yeah, I got it. And
do they have a say in it if the Board of Education says, "Hey, this is what we're doing"?
No, I don't think they would, but I think that. Well, I think then it starts drawing down to politics, but whatever that might be. But I think what you would see is that middle school become, because they're so tight and so packed into their elementary school, you would see that middle school probably, or that what would be their middle school, which would be the high school now, become a intermediate and middle school, so that they could have their kids, and those kids would be. So you're not going to lose teacher units,
right?
That's the worry. That's what, and that's a fair worry. I don't see how you would lose teacher units. We're not going to. Right now, if you were just to look at the economic strength and just the fortitude of cities, we're hard to beat. I mean, you can argue a lot of things, but you have to argue the strength of the city financially. And if you look at our city and in its growth plate, in its growing pains, you're going to see that this city is moving from about $10 million budget to 22, 23, 24 this coming year. And all of that's happened in 5 years. And I'm sorry, you can't ignore that and say, oh, yeah, but anyway, we like to.
You're having, you mentioned it, you're having athletes, and that's a big thing here in this area. In Etowah County, athletics is a huge thing. You're having kids moving, families in Southside of Rainbow City, you have families that have the means to move down the road a little bit to Trustful, because they got two schools mega schools within 3 miles of each other in that area. High school, right? You got Clay Chalkville, and then you got Hewitt Trustful. They're right there. They're moving there.
Yeah, you're touching on the thing that is absolutely going to be our Achilles heel.
Yep.
And that is, I scream about our location continuously. I talk about location.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a downside to that, in that we're so proximal to some of these really, really great programs. And and we can argue whether it should be reading, writing, and arithmetic versus balls and bats. But the truth is, it takes all of that together.
That's right.
For your school to be, in your system to be incredibly successful.
That's right.
I believe that we have a really, really nice mix of that now. We have the blue ribbon schools. We have the schools that are scoring high on their report cards. So we're having that part, but we also have to energize that scholastic ability and that academics has to be done with athletics. And
right.
it just does.
Right.
I don't necessarily like it that way, but it's just the way it is.
Great question here. Coach Short, he always brings stuff to a head, right, Coach Short? He says, honest question, best place to eat in your area for Valentine's Day?
Man.
Are you meaning Rainbow City or are you meaning Etowah County,
yeah,
Coach?
Yeah, because that's a tough one. If it's for great food, Valentine's Day, I'm going to say Cape Side.
Oh.
I'm going to say Cape Side. I'm not going to say that you're going to get your ambiance and all that kind of stuff.
You're not.
How long have you been married, Coach?
Yeah.
Because
that matters.
If she's past the white tablecloths, now they do have white paper, but if you have, if you're over the white tablecloths, go to Cape Side.
Mm.
Okay.
So what are you doing with your bride for Valentine's, Mr. Mayor?
They're going to a Amore.
I think it's just all Amore for us. I think we're going to go to the beach.
Oh,
Yeah, so
hey.
we'll go down there. We'll probably we'll go to Jesse's on the bay, and
yeah.
I'll romance her.
There's no question.
No,
Come on, there was that never
never a question.
Never a question.
Never is.
Nope. No question at
Yeah,
all.
we got to go to the Red Tie Gala over at Jacksonville State the other night, and Jeff Bynum, who's an auctioneer. Jeff's about to be in Rainbow City. He's right across from where the near Megasite is, and they'll all annex in, which is a whole other thing about annexation. But Jeff called Rachel's name and a couple of times, and everybody was like looking around going, "Who's Rachel?" But he's a lot of fun. She gets embarrassed by some of that, the notoriety of like hanging out with me, which means nothing.
Danny Starr says he's taking his bride to Jack's for Valentine's.
Hey, there you
Hey.
go. Hey, Waffle House does the Valentine's Day.
You get the heart waffle.
That's right.
Danny, we know that's not true at all.
He's going highfalutin.
No, that's right.
Highfalutin.
Danny's running a taller program than what he's going to say. He's going to be going to Automatic, or he'll be going to Helen's or something like that down in Birmingham. That's where he came from. Now, he don't need to be acting like he's all rooted in Rainbow
That
City.
brother's from Trustful.
Dude's from Trustful.
Yeah, we know.
At a
Those
median
spots.
income, man, it's
Please.
Hey, us three, we can include Danny in this one. We need to go to the oyster bar there in Trustful together. It's what is it called? But my wife and I go there. We love it. It's
we went last week.
oh my gosh, so good. What is
Come on, Danny. What's the name of that thing?
Never been. I've
good.
never
Cat
been.
Cave? It's really good.
It's really good. Yeah.
I see. My wife's allergic to all things seafood, so we
no,
don't.
man. That's not right.
God,
That's tough.
You got to get her a
Yeah.
shot.
They don't make them. We've asked.
They don't make them.
Get her a shot.
Just look. Take what is the EpiPen?
That's it.
Make
Soon
out
as
your
you
Denny
see her,
Kelly.
she starts, that neck turns red. Pop her in the thigh and keep it going.
Dude, so she tells the story. It's so funny. So she used to love shrimp. That was her thing, popcorn shrimp. And so she's very pregnant with our youngest, our daughter Abby. I convinced her, hey, let's go to Red Lobster. She started being sick. I can't eat fish. So my favorite dish back in the day was salmon New Orleans. You know, they got the little bitty shrimp on top of the salmon with the cream sauce. Maybe it's just a small shrimp. It's so good. Just taste it. Next thing you know, we're in the emergency room.
No.
But she tells the story, and she gets mad every time she tells it. I wouldn't go till I finished my meal.
It was a small portion.
It was. I had to
I
get,
mean, it's not that much.
I had to get that
They're gonna
in.
give you a lot.
I can believe.
Yeah, so and she gets so fired up telling the story to this day.
That's awesome.
Can you believe she's still with me though?
Oh.
28 years Saturday.
You know, I bet if she went back and thought that out, though.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You don't waste that money.
If she thought that through,
I think probably what she would do is look at that and say he tried to kill me.
yeah, that's exactly what she
And
did.
then in that case, you're saying she would let you finish.
You don't think he's
I'm
greased those
saying
lips up
she would
with
say
shrimp?
You were trying to kill her.
Well, I need to.
Kelly,
I need to
We were
relook.
on two different sides of the page.
I need to look at. I really need to look at that policy.
As long as that premium's paid, baby.
Review that
Yeah,
policy.
I gotta get the
Man,
policy.
Rachel was reviewing all her insurance and stuff this week. She was calling me, and she started kind of putting those numbers together, and I'm like, we're self-insured, we're good to go, everything's good, we're all right. And then she started popping out some of those extra numbers. And look, it's a small chance I'm gonna outlive. Can we say that out loud?
I'm saying no
Yeah.
I'll
chance.
say there's no chance.
No chance.
It's so zero, it's zero.
It's zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was popping out those numbers. I was like, man, what if I did?
You need to look over your shoulder, brother.
And then for real.
You know where she's from, right?
Yeah, I do. They'll cut you. You better know it.
Oh my gosh! Before you go to the Fort Morgan, we need to make sure we start our group text back up
That's
because
right.
we need that
That's
we need that patio text from you
That's
late in the
right.
evening. Okay.
I always make sure I send you a sunset.
Yes,
I
sir.
I was questioning because next thing you know, I see the sunset. Then I see Joe wearing nothing but an apron at the grill.
I mean,
I said,
you
it's
know,
one of them
That's
kind of
the only way
parties.
I roll. That's
It's
right.
one of them kind of
Well,
parties.
it's winter time, so you're not going to get that one. Don't hold out for that one.
yeah, I don't.
Nobody deserves
We don't want that. We don't want that text.
Good Lord. Thank you, Rainbow City.
Yes, man. Comments blowing up. Thank you guys for watching. So we'll be back here
A few minutes.
in a few minutes for Kapow Show. Mayor Taylor will be back in 2 weeks after the next council meeting. Any last words from you, Mayor?
No, I just think that I want people out there to be encouraged and understand that we're about to go into a season here in Rainbow City of opening up the Challenger Learning Center, which is absolutely, it's just a game changer for this region, not for Rainbow City, but for this region.
Yeah.
And then we're doing the final details right now on our recreation and aquatic center that has an amphitheater. It's all of those things are kind of coming together, and it's right sized for our city and for our friends over in Southside, because we believe we want to include Southside with us on our recreation center because of the fact that we do share schools.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if we were going to go back to the school question, that should answer your question. That I'm not looking to separate friendships and children from their best friends, but I do think that there's long term there's going to have to be a better way for us to do our schools.
Yeah.
And that needs to be here based on location alone. So
Jeff
there you
Prince,
go.
Splash Pad. That's still a go.
Splash pad, the furniture or the piping and all the fixtures for the splash pad are installed now. If you haven't gotten a chance, I know you can't go into the construction site, but just ride by there. And this building is massive, and it is so well done, y'all. I've got to tip my hat to Goodwin Mills and K Wood. That was our architects and our engineers, and then Dominguez Persons out of Calhoun County and Tampa, Florida, and up in North Carolina. These guys are professionals. But I have to really say something about my staff: Beth Lee, Cindy Posey, Crystal Gazaway, Karen, and then our police and fire representatives. And we kind of represented the whole city as far as what we wanted the aesthetic of that building to be and what we wanted to look like. It's so nice, and it's such a breath of fresh air when you go into this building. Jeff went down with me the other day, and we got a chance to walk through, and And he said, I'm astounded by what we've done here. And it is a we project. This city has given me the ability to go out there and lead. And that's not lost on me. I know that I do get 99% of the credit of the direction that this city's going, but and Coach said it so well. A great leader is the person that takes his fellowship and moves them into that lead position, and gets a chance to mentor and test them in those critical situations. And that is what I get to do.
That's right.
And I've got very capable people to do it with.
That's awesome.